we need to make sure that we abide by the regulations. Now, how that's going to turn out, we'll see.
Pastor Ray, would it not be wiser, I wonder, to, as you're saying, have pastors classified as essential service workers and perhaps carry out services such as counseling, which I know your church does, and the like, versus having people come to church? Because if you're saying you're keeping the limit to 50 people, how do you manage those restrictions? Do you add more services? And if you do add more services, do you have people who are, let's say, in the 7 a.m. service also working during the 10? Because that also might increase their exposure to other people, for example.
Yes, I think that'll be a big problem. What I'm looking at personally is that we have hundreds of small home groups, maybe 8 to 15 people in each one, and that we can do it through those home groups. But to control the 50 people with your music, with the people that take people to their seats and that, it's going to be very difficult. But at least it's a start. And at least we start somewhere, and we just need to regulate it, and we need to be an example to society and to our nation that it can be done if it's done correctly.
Will you encourage the elderly and other high-risk congregants to stay home?
Yes. Yes, I don't think we've got to try and get a crowd now. I don't think we've got to open up so we can get more people in. I think it's a time to be very careful, and the elderly need to be at home, or they need to be, for instance, with communion. We need our pastors and our volunteers to take that to them.
So my grandmother, Pastor, is 84 years old. She's always loved going to church. So when she arrives, let's say, at Rhema on the first Sunday of June, she arrives at the door. Will there be an instruction given to the ushers to say, turn her back?
No, I think that's why I'm saying to you that I'm not looking to open immediately. That's me. That's Rhema. Mm-hmm. What we'll do is we'll do it through small home groups, because to turn somebody away like you've just described is really a disgrace. So we'll have to work through this very carefully. And I think small groups to start with, doing it properly, having people coming in order is the name of the day. And I just hope people don't abuse it or misuse it and do things they shouldn't do.
And the sad reality, Pastor McCauley, is that much of what we're seeing as far as the skepticism around churches is concerned is linked to a degree to some of the things that we've seen going wrong in this space, with pastors doing things that don't necessarily comply with the word that is supposed to guide churches and the like. So I'm curious about whether you, as religious leaders, especially having met with the president as a group, will be watching each other to make sure that you are all doing this by the book. Because it's one thing for Rhema to comply, but if the next church is not doing things right and there's an outbreak there, it has an effect on everyone.
Yes, well, I think the condition number one for us is that it has to be a group of people or an organization or a church or whatever that is accepted by the with 2 stars. It needs to be, sorry, I just lost the word for a minute.
Not a problem.
And that there has to be some commitment to that.
And we're losing your
because
Skype line.
Because there is a lot of stuff going on.
Pastor McCauley, we're losing your Skype.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but I want to squeeze in one quick question. Would you agree that because government has said that the regulations as a whole are not set in stone, would you agree that once we begin to see possibly cluster outbreaks coming from places of worship, the whole thing should be scrapped?
Well, I believe that those people must be dealt with severely. I believe that the government needs to be very quick to act on that. And we as religious leaders need to make sure that if somebody's doing that, that they're exposed and that it will be dealt with accordingly.
Pastor Ray McCauley, head of the Rhema Network, thank you so much for being on ENCA this afternoon.